Yeah, we've gone quarter past. So welcome everyone. Welcome TRG members, regular fishing trip. We've got a few guests here as well. Background to this is we decided to publicize fishing trip on our volume and order flow traders Facebook group so that members of that group can see what we're about. This is ahead of our upcoming order flow for beginners class that commences on July the 9th. For our guests, I'm Lee Harris. Hello. Top of the afternoon to you from sunny UK. Hello. I am a co-founder of Trading Research Group together with Jeff Mayem, whose voice you've been hearing. You've also been hearing the voice of Jonathan Van Kloot, our community manager. We refer to him as JVC.
That would be me.
Yeah, and what we do every week in TRG, this is one of the 5 or 6 live things that we do every week in TRG for our members. TRG, Trading Research Group. We open up our screens, Jeff's screen, my screen, for about an hour, 90 minutes, hard stop at, what would that be? 11 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock for me. And we look, in my case, a couple of specific trade setups, which are based around the first hour's range, the initial balance. So the range of prices formed between 8:30 and 9:30 of Central, regular trading hours VS. And I just do kind of stream of consciousness and you'll take the trades. I'm in sim today. I did my trading earlier on today. But I do trade my live account on these events. After we've looked at those, or if nothing's really happening, we'll swap over to Jeff's screen and we'll talk price action and scalping, and we just sort of bounce around between the way in which the two of us trade every day. And our TRG members and people who've been through, our students who have been through our beginners class know what we're doing. But it's reinforcement of the kind of trade setups that we educate on the approaches. So you'll hear us throw some phrases in, some jargon that may not mean that much. We may qualify them. We're not going to get into deep Q&A on when you said this, what do you mean and how do I use it? Because you know what? That's why we offer paid education. Yeah, but you'll get a sense of what we're about, our trading style, our communication style, our educational style, and it might be a fit for you, or it might not be a fit for you, but at least you've been able to kick the tires and decide whether you want to take this premium priced used car off the lot today or go, nah, not for me, thanks. So that's what we're about. Yeah. Jeff's post in Facebook about Toyotas going for $1,000 more than they were used 2 weeks ago, whatever, was in my mind. So there we go. That's what today's about. And yeah, we'll bounce between this screen and Jeff's screen. What I'll do, because we have got 12 minutes to go until the first hour's range is formed, I'm just going to give a quick brain dump of what I saw overnight. I've been trading on and off for the past hour or two, and it was quite interesting. So we had, I'm looking at my TPO chart here, we had a very well-defined double distribution overnight, double D, and it really accelerated, though that was 3 a.m. Central, which would be 10 o'clock Frankfurt. So something must have happened in Europe, news-wise, whatever, for this to occur. It's not going to be anything exciting overnight, directly related to US equities, but we formed an interesting range. Now, what caught my attention as we were bouncing around here, probably about 2 hours ago, was it did stick its nose down here. And I was wondering, are we going to move back into this area? We haven't yet, but it was, let's just scroll back a little bit. We were churning, and then it stuck its nose down. I was very interested in this zero print at 45.5, which we can see here on the session profile overnight. So I thought, maybe we're going to squeeze back down there. Maybe we still will. But when we opened, we got banged to the overnight high, and I was thinking, interesting, potential TPO double top. Then so let's see, here's where we opened. We traded up to here very nicely during the open, so 55.5, the overnight high. Then we broke it. We broke it quite cleanly by about a point, and it's pushed higher since. but we haven't gone much further. However, this is not an especially well-formed high. We're at all-time highs. Who knows what's beyond it? No man's land. We could go to infinity. We've traded down and we formed a weak low on the TPO as well, which is like a double bottom. So it is pretty hard to assess, are we going to go up to go down, or are we going to go down to go up? Don't know yet. So for the time being, we will sit on our hands and see what presents itself. The sorts of trades which I'm looking for, guests, is after the first hour's range, I want to trade from somewhere in the middle to the edge of the range. So I'm not trading the breakout, I'm trading the move before the breakout. Yeah, and the reason I like that trade is the first hour's range is broken pretty much every day on ES. So we'll see how the first hour's range forms, and we'll see if we can assess which side is more likely to break. On a day like this, where we have got a weak low, which should be revisited at some point, and a high that's not especially well formed, it may be I'll just scalp a few ticks out of the move up to the edge, because something you'll hear in TRG all the time will say that edges break 99% of the time, or ledges, session edges. Yeah. So, I'll take a little bit out of it with some sides, but we'll see. We've got okay. So look, we've now broken the top of A period, first 30 minutes. B period's moving up. What could stop it above us? Well, top is not especially well formed. We're going to keep moving. Yeah, it's unfinished business so far. It's going to keep pushing. What is there above us that's interesting? Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. We've got 3 large orders in the book at 80. So out of the 1,085 lots, 3 of those orders are above, I filter at something like 90 lots. There's a 547 lot order, 130, 245. They can act as magnets. But given we're at all-time highs, structurally, what's important about 80? Nothing. Yeah, it's no man's land. So we now have to just see how high might be too high. If this was the day's range that would represent average true range, so we trade as far as we have done on average in the past month, realistically, we'd trade up to about here. This isn't precise, this is an average, therefore it's wrong, but it gives me a guide of what an average day might be. But the only interesting landmarks above me right now, without getting into nonsense, fib projections, pivots, all this hocus pocus, the reality is at 80, there's a lot of liquidity advertising itself in the order book, and within that liquidity, there are there's one significantly large order, anything over 500 I pay attention to, and there's another couple which are there. But I'm not doing anything yet. I want to wait for this first hour to form, and then I will see what occurs. So I've got some interesting landmarks above me, interesting landmarks below me, because we have this double distribution overnight. Let's just see. So we traded down to here, pre-market 48. It didn't especially trade down there, so this area, in a way that makes me think, yeah, that was solid. We're never going to go below that. And there is a 0 print, which is an interesting bookmark, a potential stopping point at 45.5. So I'm open-minded. We might break to the upside first. We might break to the downside first through root time. But let's see what happens. I'm not doing a thing yet. We'll wait and see. So Jeff, before we get to the bottom of the hour, is there anything you want to add in terms of what you're seeing from overnight and your thoughts on the day, the theme for the day?
No, I completely agree with you. This is it's a lot of fun scalping action, but it could go a lot higher before we go lower. And then you see sweeps like that where 2,000 contracts hits the bid and we drop 3 points. So my advice is be nimble.
And let's just do a little thing from our little structural add-on group, which will be meeting at 11:15 Central today, 9:15 Pacific. So from your guys' homework last week, that's 58.25, TPO week bottom, week low, and that's 52.5. So that's 5.75 points. If this was regarded as a double bottom, which would be a bit daft, when it's an all-time high, but where would that take us to? So 5.75 point projection plus 58.25. 64. Yeah, who knows? There's nothing significant up here. Yeah, but it gives us another potential metric, potential inflection point to be looking at what's happening. Other interesting stuff, of course, is ES all-time highs. Yeah, who knows what's beyond here? NQ all-time highs. Just looking on my other screen, my domes. NQ has left unfinished business at the high. YM is in the middle. Yeah, and RTY is in the middle. So compared to a week or so ago, week and a half ago, where trading ES was really about watching what was going on with NQ and YM, right now with ES and NQ at all-time highs and YM and RTY in the middle, I would say we need to concentrate actually on these two instruments to get a sense of what's going on. So Amy, why is 65 to 70 point, which is a big range, 10 points? Why is that a range you're interested in shorting? Is it some projection of something in your world? I'm interested in shorting 85,000 if we get there today. Okay, fib projection, fine. Let's see what else is there in the chat. JVC is saying sorry, JVC, what is a potential IP that isn't
what you were just talking about, that double bottom projection, you know, that kind of thing. It's there, and it's something that not everybody is going to see unless they pay attention to stuff like, you know, TPOs and things like that.
Yeah, the only caveat I would do on this is, you know, we have in today's regular trading hours, we've made a new all-time high. Yeah. So the low of today's session, this early in the session, is pretty hard to say, you know, on a rotation basis, this represents a bottom.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You know, it's something interesting to look at. And, you know, mental note, okay, 64, you know, if this were at a bottom, 64 is a sensible place to be seeing what occurs. But for me, it's a hard argument to say, you know, let's put my life savings on this idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't see it as anything to use right now, but I like kind of having it in the back of my mind. Any of those IPs that aren't just super screamingly obvious can catch a lot of people off guard, and I like to try to keep mind of those.
And let's look at this. You know, if we are entering the day A period and B period looking like this on the TPO, let's just break it apart like that. This isn't normal. So we need to see some excess at the bottom at some point for this to balance itself out. We know we've got this run of single prints on the TPO that formed some aggression here. We understand where the overnight second distribution was. And, you know, we started bang in the middle of this distribution. So, you know, potential scenarios, we might break it higher. It might be a weak break. It might be a strong break. Don't know. We could get a two-sided day. Could be one of those 2 days in 5 where it occurs. I'm totally open-minded right now, which is rare for me, because I'm an opinionated old bastard, basically. But, you know, I can see potential scenarios, but I'm not hanging my hat on anything right now. I'm sitting on my hands and I need to wait and see what happens. And the worst case is, okay, we've got minutes and a half to go till this range is formed. Worst case is I'll, you know, when it's really clear where we're going to break, I'll just scalp the ledge. And if we look at it at the moment, so on the session, the bottom actually is quite well formed. We've got a price reject pattern. 185 isn't especially low, but it's this weird weak low. Yeah, let's not forget that. The top isn't showing any signs it's too high yet. So let's see, we've got a minute to go. I doubt this is going to fly through here before the minute's up. I think we might, you know, nudge our way through this, but the question is going to be if that's going to occur. Let's look, especially on what could be an awkward day, let's look for the best possible entry from somewhere inside the range, because our account equity only deserves the best possible trades. Why do we want to put our equity at risk for rubbish? So my feeling is, well, yeah, we're so close to the ledge. I think we'll break the upside. How far it goes, don't know. Mental note of 64, mental note of these large orders sitting at AC that could act as a magnet. Look at this is about to pop, I think. Contested level here in the pullback. Okay, boom. Yeah, so look, we don't even have a chance the inside out trade. Yeah, C period's immediately traded up to the edge. It's going to go. I don't want to enter long at the high of the day. Yeah. So what I have to look for now is clues like unfinished business that we are not yet high enough, and then opportunities to enter from below to go trade towards it, or other clues that it's a weak break. So it's going to be a combination of the excursion and then signs in the order flow, to then say, okay, this might be one of the 2 days in 5 where we go all the way back to the other side of the range. So, okay, we broke it by a tick. Interesting print, isn't it? 1 by 300, 300 lots absorbed at the high-ish. Let's see, there's almost a price rejector forming at the base of that, but not quite. 258 isn't enough. We're at the bottom of the LRC range. That's interesting. Looks like we're going to push higher, but because I was doing 2 things at once and I was just looking at Lance's question. It's very easy, Lance. I've just changed the draw style of the symbol to text, and I've said away. Looks like we're going to push higher, but okay, NQ has got unfinished business at the high. You know what? I'm only in sim. Let's just play. Let's just get one on. And what we'll do, we'll bookmark this 64 idea and see what occurs. I'm also happy to put, I'm happy to be here because if we get back down here, I'm absolutely interested in being wrong. My line in the sand for being wrong is actually here. Yeah, but this would end up forming a price rejector, so I'm happy to be long. But okay, I seem to be okay here. Let's see what occurs. Oh, it was okay, and then I took my eye away, and now it's not.
It's some really good scalping if you're fast. I'm actually scalping short, and I'm long in another account structurally with you. So yeah, I'm scalping short on the price
great
action.
Day to be hoovering up, 1 to 3 ticks really quickly on ES.
Yep, exactly.
It's going to be the sort of day it's going to be frustrating on these structural trades, just sitting in them and waiting, because there's going to be sweeps backwards and forwards. And unless you're super confident or prepared to hold on to the idea, it will be easy to get shaken out. So it was your scalping short that's pushed us back down. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's me. That was that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
There's 4 micros. Damn it.
Basically, I've just got orders above where we're trading to sell and orders below where we're trading to buy, and I'm just kind of going in and out of it. As long as it doesn't break the range aggressively, that works really well.
And I bet we're looking at kind of 58 3/4 and 62.
Yeah, it's interesting. The LRC range and just the general price range right now are the same. So the range of the session is 28, and the short-term range right now, the LRC range, is about 4. So this is the perfect ratio to scalp. There's a lot of movement within a relatively defined range. So that's good stuff to scalp. The only place you get in trouble there.
The range of the session, what, the full Globex session, Jeff? Or
yeah, it's at this point in time, the RTH session is much smaller. It's only 10 points. And so when it's that tight, this is an exception to my only looking at the current session. I will look at Globex again under these circumstances, but this is a very unusual set of circumstances. Normally, the current session is the one, and I break it in half. Overnight is 1/2, regular trading is the other half. So.
And you think about our open, we've had no energy, no great conviction. It's been a kind of open where no one's really wanting to play. I'm not surprised, we're at all-time highs. So we haven't had any great momentum or velocity come into the market through the open.
And the volume is really low again. So it still could be an overnight flip setup where, we move up on low volume overnight and into the open. And then after the first hour, we go right back into the range. That's kind of the thinking I have. As long as, I'm in agreement with you, as long as it doesn't really break to the north aggressively, that's kind of what I'm playing right now.
So you know what, I'm going to exit that just before so that's me scalping the ledge break. Yeah, took a couple of ticks out of that because there's just no conviction. I think this is going to go further, but I don't want to sit around. I was in that trade for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, which is way too long. So I went one, maybe two ticks offside, take a couple of ticks out of it, see what happens.
If the trade's not working, you're either wrong or early. Reevaluate. Sitting in trades waiting to work is a really bad idea.
And we have a really crappy looking profile today because we have one tick of excess at the top. We have UB at the top, but it is our trade away UB. But there is this eagerness is the wrong word. It's pressure, isn't it? It's very low pressure, but it's like, come on. This could be a fantastic two-sided day, but I want to see some good signs.
Yeah, at some point, if the sellers step up here, this could be a very interesting move back. If nothing else, just back to the open of the range here. And there's a few other things floating around. We've got Williams' speech at 8, the Fed talking head. We've also got Kansas Fed manufacturing at 8. Nothing really exciting there. So, yeah, this is one of the setups that, given the low volume, one of two things happens in my experience. We either just keep pushing up and just keep raping shorts, which could very easily happen today, or we just go up until everybody runs out of gas, and then we dribble down the rest of the first half of the session. So I'm kind of playing one of those two scenarios. Right now, I'm in the dribble down scenario, so that's what I'm playing. It seems like if it's going to break further north, it's going to need some more people to decide that needs to happen, and more aggression, in other words.
Yeah.
And the wave volume is diminishing, so go ahead.
And what's putting me off getting long is the lack of a decent price trajectory at the low of this pullback. So at 58.75, if I see that build up, yeah, I'm interested. But right now, I'm in the middle of the immediate range.
Yeah.
And I don't trust the day. Let's put it that way. It's not that I don't trust my read. My read is I don't trust this. So why would I play?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good risk management decision. From a scalping point of view, it's easy to pick up ticks actually mostly
in both
down
directions,
now.
actually.
Yeah, it's been both directions up until right about now, which is kind of the reason I'm leaning toward the dribble back down into the range scenario. That's kind of why I'm thinking that. If you look at the short-term wave volume, we came up here pretty aggressively, and then we've just been back and forth on, the 8-tick dance on low volume. So, that's compression. That's an apex. That always precedes a big movement. So the big movements can be up or down. We're not going to stay here, basically, is the conclusion. We've had some good short sweeps too. Yeah, I agree with Amy, just posted that. That's exactly why I'm playing on the short side here. I'm not seeing long sweeps. Nobody's throwing on 2,000 buys here. They're throwing on, if anything, it's on the sell side. So that's also a reason to conclude, at least for the moment, that it's diminishing, and we could try to roll over here. That's the more likely direction than up at this very instant, from a price action point of view, anyway. Yeah, that's Amy. I agree with that too. There probably are some sellers sitting on the side here. I mean, if I was slinging a big book, I'd be looking to put some size on when this ran out of gas too. That would be why wouldn't you do that? On the other hand, if you can blow the ledge and go north, that's worth throwing some size at for a few ticks as well. So I think we're going to see this battle continue right up here at the high. And again, if I had to just bet money,
who wants to sell aggressively is going to have to push it higher in order to sell.
Exactly. If I had to just bet money here, I would go with the pushes up will get sold and will dribble down scenario. That I don't see this just breaking up and going to 80, but anything can happen anytime. What would change my mind? A high wave volume break of 61, and so far every attempt to get up there has gone the other way. So let's see what happens.
So while it's this quiet, let's remind our guests, feel free to pop any questions.
We can barely hear you, Lee.
Sorry, I moved my mic. I needed tea. So while it is really quiet and ebbing and flowing, let's remind our guests that, feel free to put any questions in the chat about what we're doing, trading research group, how our education can benefit you, and we'll talk to them as well. It's like watching an egg hatching.
Yeah, this is definitely a paint dry day.
Yeah. So we might move attention away from Q&A if this steps up. But while this is, we've had our inside out break, but I'm not seeing anything implying outside in yet. So there's ample time at the moment to answer questions and talk about stuff. Which is another way of saying I don't have much else to say right now.
I'm short here at a couple of them at 60, 59, 75. It's a price action trade. Again, the thing that would I always like to run scenarios in my head, and the things that would not shock me today. What would shock me today? An aggressive break of 61 up. That would shock me today. What wouldn't shock me today? Staying right here and just dribbling around, which would be great for scalping. What's kind of the expectation that we are going to dribble down? So is that likely? Well, it's probably a lot of people thinking the same thing. So yeah, I really like a push up that we see big blocks getting sold into would be an interesting place to short. Otherwise, I'm scalping around the core price action here, waiting for something to happen. I have a feeling something is going to happen here, by the way. My sense is we're going to get a move here.
NQ's just formed a nice high, but it's not to say that 09, but it's not to say that it's not going to go higher. YM is showing it was just stops at the top. I'm watching NQ really for Qs. Just got a tick there, I think. Yeah, it took a tick. How about that? Look at me scalping the price action.
Yeah, really.
a little bit too skeptical, Jeff.
Well, right now there's not even good price action to scalp. Like I said, I've got a couple on short, and when it's pulling back, I was taking them off, but it hasn't moved at all recently. No. We have the LRC range is among the tightest I've seen recently. It's barely 2 points.
Yeah,
so that's the 8-tick dance right there. But if you look at the session now, we're still, roughly 10 points. So, the short-term range is at the moment about 25% of the day. And if you count Globex, it's a different story. For Globex, it's 10%. And, so that's why I think this is a giant apex forming here. Coiling up is another way to look at that.
Powder keg, as some people would say.
Yeah, a push up that gets sold is like, the holy grail setup I'd be looking for right now is, push 61, break the stops, get up to 62, and have everybody throw on their 2,000 cells up there. And if that doesn't happen, I think we're just going to stay in this little range.
Yeah, so it looks like NQ is going to pop the top at the moment. So
there goes its ledge. Yeah.
Although
YM is going as well at the moment, Lee. Very close to its ledge as well.
Yeah.
Another just quick comment, I use the internals as a filter, and we opened very strong. Advanced decline was real positive up at, almost 2,000, and now it's down like 900 on the positive side, so it's drifting down again. The cumulative tick's kind of doing the same thing. A little bit of risk on. The VIX dropped this morning, the VIX futures, so a little more risk on. But other than that, it's total lack of information points to work with.
So I'm just scrolling back to try and understand overnight why equities went up, and it all seems to be about German economy. So the good economic outlook in Germany this morning. So Euro stocks, DAX, etc. have had a push, and we've followed in sympathy here.
Those types of moves don't always have legs.
No.
They're good places for people to squeeze a lot of shorts out. And then again, this is the reason that I'm not trying to justify my scenario, just explain. That's another reason why I like to kind of dribble down slowly after we break the high, because it's consistent with that as well. Trying to, think who's doing what are big hedge funds doing? What are equities, mutual funds doing? Those guys are all long. The mutual funds are all long. The hedge funds are probably the guys that are looking for shorts up here with their 2,000 lots. So very, very interesting inflection point.
Yeah. And you know me, I like to trade towards something. Right now, well, there's been no opportunity to get long to try and join in. You know, maybe it would have been down here. I don't want to get long at 59 to get back to 60.
Yeah. Even just trading the ledge with size is really dangerous here because that's exactly where everyone wants to short it. And we had that, we had that 2000 slam the shorts about 15 minutes ago. And particularly the way that trade went down too, that guy wasn't trying to work his way into the bid. He just said, boom, and it could have been another time frame trade, or could have been a hedge trade, who knows? But it was big enough to catch my attention. If I was long, that would have concerned me a bit. I would have taken profits if I was long, if I saw that. So again, gaming what other people are probably thinking. Since I'm short, I always try to argue the other case. Why would anybody be long right here? And the ledge break is the obvious reason. But ledge breaks are getting sold, so I think we're okay. Again, back to the dribble down over the course of the morning theory. The volume is still absurdly low. We haven't even made 400,000 contracts yet. And, that's like August holiday volume. It just... And this is, midweek economic stuff going on. Williams is yakking now. I think the Fed talking head. So it should get more volatile. All about thinking in bets is absolutely true. And right now, this is a reasonable bet to the downside, and it's easy to see where you're wrong. If it clears 62, I'm wrong. That's all there is to it. Because it's got to plow through all that size. Oh, what's the MBO story there in the above us, Lee? Are there any big MBO?
Yeah, 80 is the standout.
Okay, and anything in the 60s there? Anybody that's looking at smaller numbers than Lee?
Yes.
JV's, what's that?
Marks, it's like, who cares about this? 68, 65, 61, 100, who cares?
Yeah, so nothing really substantial. Yeah, I wouldn't show my hand if I was trying to sell up here either. I would try to work it into the market. I still have my 2 lot here from 59.75. I tried to add to it on that little bounce up, and I couldn't get a fill where I wanted. So that's a good sign when you have a limit sell near the highs and you can't get filled. That's generally the market's way of telling you have the right idea. When you can't get filled with a limit order that's near the inside bid and ask, there's probably some size in front of you, and so that's not a bad thing. But of course, if they all pull out of the way really quickly, then it can be a really quick move, which again, I'm not out of the question at all here. We can blow the top and, race to 70 real fast and, rape all the shorts and then, have a good opportunity. So this is a pure price action day for me.
So look, now it's interesting. If I can get long here, if this becomes a price reject, so we've got UB at the top. That's a reasonable little scalp based upon can I get a fill here, as this proves it to be a decent bottom.
Well, I'm not seeing a low yet. I'm actually added to my short there. But again, we're trading slightly different. It's important. We do this a lot. Those are our guests. Just so Lee is primarily discussing structure, and I use structure for context. And I am a more short-term price action guy. So I'm basically short from 59.75 here now, and I added one at 59.25 on the way down. So now I've got another one there.
Yeah, if this breaks below here, then I'll absolutely get out. But it's interesting that, NQ and ES are at the bottom of the LRC ranges.
Yeah, and pushing down.
Yeah, okay.
On increasing delta. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually I'm going to go the other way. So we're going to get a little pop down now. And I think midpoint's a logical place to get out of that. There we go.
I am going to go get coffee. There's a couple questions worth...
Okay, Phil is saying, since the market has rejected the initial balance high, what would you guys need to see to join the outside in trade? That is a good question today, Phil, because we've left UB. Yeah, we've had a week break. We've got this week low on the other side. So I'd kind of go balance of probabilities. Here's a nice bookmark for later. Yeah, that the all-time high now on ES is not too high. We've got UB, but we don't have to rush to get back to it because we've got this week low that needs to be resolved in the TPO. So I was trying a quick trade to get back to resolve that UB. Didn't work. I'm now thinking, okay, we can maybe start to play short purely on the basis that this is now proven. It's not. It didn't form a bottom. Yeah, and I can see a business case for resolving this. But it gets very interesting at some point in the future, whether it's the next 30-minute footprint or whether it's tomorrow or a year's time, that the all-time high right now is not too high because it's got UB. But it may be subsequent 30-minute TPO gives us a beautiful price trajectory at the top, which could be a nice clear sign to get in. So the LRCs that was flat. It started to tip down. NQ's doing the same thing. We may well now get our two-sided day. What will be interesting then is if we break the first hour's low, what's going to happen around this area with the single prints? But for me, if this is two-sided day, I'm happy. If I'm here, I'm happy to get out before it turns into a two-sided day. Bank something. I personally don't like it when it's this slow on ES. It is horrendous. We could, for a bit of entertainment, if that's slow, how slow is 30-year? No, my data hasn't stopped. This is how the 30-year bond is trading. Oh yeah, look, liquidity moved.
The 30-year cracks me up. I've watched Brady trade that. It's literally like trading paint drying. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't have the DNA to do that.
Well, Lance saying throw 1,000 loss in there. It won't make any difference. Look at the book.
Yeah, there's 15,000 on the bid, and it's like
Okay, so this idea is
the short's working really well now. I'm happy with my short, so
I'm just going to protect it. It's still a scalp because ultimately I want to see that go. But this is a nice little bonus. This looks okay. Need to see what happens around the midpoint. See if it gets down here. If it gets down here, is it going to fill in that area of TPO single print? This is working okay. But there wasn't a clean sign at all to get in. The actual clean sign. Oh, come on, Zoom. Let's have a look at it's this one, isn't it? So the clean sign was the top of NQ here, which gave us a really nice price projector. YM is stops actually at the top. RTY is just nonsense. But it is ES and NQ that are really telling us direction today, and NQ gave us a nice high. So that actually Phil would have been kind of a clear sign, go on correlation. I need to swap screen again. Something interesting just happened. That one. So look how we formed a price projector just above the midpoint of the session, but 159 lots. That's a pause. Yeah, there's potential inflection points, a stopping point near the bottom of the LRC range. I think we'll get through that though.
Boom.
Oh, look. Yeah, we they heard me.
There we go. That when the sweeps are down and I'm short, I'm a happy camper. That's just the market's way of reinforcing you're on the right side of the trade.
Did that happen before or after I said I think we'll get through that? Because I was looking at a different screen.
Right after you said it. It was perfect timing. Predicting the future again here at TRG.
I had my finger on the sell button.
Worked.
Yeah, I had my finger on the sell 2,000 lot button.
Well, that big draw, the first 1,000 of that you saw was me.
Yeah, so. And look, we paused just at the open. Yeah, one tick above the open because it's a potential inflection point. People care about it.
Yeah, I'm still watching this dribble down into the previous range idea today.
Yeah.
yesterday was such an inside day. I mean, it was so tight inside. And then we broke, out of it on this overnight move on low volume. So move back below 45, to 40 to 35, that area, that just seems like a consolidation that's likely, no matter what else is going to happen after that.
So we need to watch what happens here through this area of aggression where it pops down, and a little battle of that versus stops. I think we're going to go lower.
Coming into this little high volume node too here. It's really the only one of the mornings. Right here around 55. So I'm starting to take profits on my scalp, or at least tighten up my take profit stops. If I were to bounce, I would try to bounce here. And there we go.
Playing on this and sim. If we get up to this or this, then I'd exit it. But I'm playing the idea of this being two-sided day. We'll see. Regularly getting down to there, another potential inflection point and stalling, I'd absolutely take profit. Okay, so we filled in all that area of aggression through the midpoint. Oh, look at that.
Some buyers came in.
Yeah, but we're back at the top of the LRCs on NQ. Look, the short and the long LRCs are about the same width on NQ.
Yep. And that's price discovery by definition. Range expansion. Yeah, I'm sure every algorithm model and every discretionary big book trader right now is doing exactly what we're doing, trying to game this range against the all-time highs, against the low volume, against the high volume node that we're sitting right on. And it's like the perfect spot for anything either way to happen, but it's gameable. It's actually tradable, even though it could go either way. It has good odds. And obviously right now that's down, but you can play it both ways. For that reason, I just got myself a fresh cup of Joe.
So look how balanced, perfectly balanced the TPO profile is, apart from the fact there's one tick of excess at the high and a weak low. But if we weren't looking to qualify the edges, this is perfectly distributed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful symmetric volume profile and distribution. Again, though, there's this lovely air pocket
below us.
Below us, and all that does is get us back into the tight inside day of yesterday, which, guess what, has another air pocket below it down to 15 or so. So from an odds point of view, this is very simple to play short. You know where you're wrong. And so that's why I like this short. Doesn't mean I won't play long if we go the other way. Yeah, now it's picking up to the short side. I'm actually going to add to my short here, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to keep this on as a bookmark. I won't tighten this one up, but there's absolutely. Well, let's just throw one on at market and let's be part of this. That we'll exit here when these stops, the zero print gets dealt with, so we can book some more. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens once we get to the other side.
I have a couple of orders sitting up at 58.5 area, just in case we get a bounce up there. I want to get filled short. This trade I will keep on unless we leave 61 with aggression. So it would have to get above 62 with a lot of volume. Otherwise, I'm playing short here. That's my price action sense. And there goes down more. Good. Yeah, it has that, it wants to push itself over the cliff feeling, and that's what we'll get those sweeps to the downside that will actually make that happen. So there's another one right there. Not as big, but it was a nice one. And there's another one. Yeah, they're slamming the bid now. Ooh, and somebody just bought the bid. Look at that. Huh. Great day for scalping. Right on the top of 8 o'clock here. What's going on structurally?
We're going to break the low. It's going to be 2 sides. It could be 3 sides. We may get down here and then go back and resolve that. And if we don't resolve it, even better, because we've got some clues for later on in the week.
You mean 3-sided, like it'll go up, it'll go down, and then it'll go sideways?
It'll come out of the screen towards you.
That's right. Punch you in the face and then go back.
And that'll be full DTV, yeah.
Yeah. There is no sideways, is why we're joking, guys. There's only up and down. Yeah, 3D trading. Actually, one of my friends, his handle on all of the trading boards is C3D, SEE3D. And that's exactly how he tries to do his discretion. He has kind of a 3D, he's a physicist. He has kind of a physicist approach to these things. And believe it or not, doesn't use any visual tool like Bookmap or anything like that. He's a total numbers trader. Rare old bird.
So Lee, has your thinking changed at all on this? Because obviously it's pushed up and you jumped out and grabbed a tick or two.
I just didn't want that to turn into a loser.
Oh, you're away from your mic again.
Yeah, with the extra lot which I put on, I didn't want the trade to turn into a losing trade. So the short from down there subscribes the extra one which I put on. But yeah, notes how it reacted there. I still think I'm going to go down and make it a 2-sided day.
It bounced the bottom of the LRC range, and now it's continuing to sell. But yeah, it's holding the range is pretty tight, with the exception of RTY. RTY has
been crazy the past couple of weeks. It's just doing the same thing.
Well, I think a lot of the speculative dollars have been going into those issues, and there's lots of the games going on with the AMC and the Wall Street Bets guys. Those are all Russell stocks, all of those. So that is part of it. Those games wouldn't work on really, high cap stocks anyway. So.
So you're saying interest me pops off the max delta. What price level, Stephen? Are you talking about on the session or on the pullback or the session? Yeah, it's contested level. Yeah, 55. They're stacked on top of each other. It's got to resolve itself somehow. And what is 55? It's pretty much where we opened. Looking at the base of the pullback for the session on NQ, and it's not especially well formed. It's towards an edge, but yeah, I think we can go lower. I cannot bear it when it's this slow and twitchy. Your limit orders can take 30 seconds, a minute to fill. Horrible.
I think one of the things that's making today as difficult as it is just the low volume as well. Yeah. And we're at this point in the day, we're almost half of normal volume. That's how low it is. Just so those of you that aren't volume followers, and the way you can interpret that is twofold. Number one, it's easy to move the price around when there's lower volume. That's why sweeps will push it around. And so that makes it a little dangerous. And number two, it's important to remember when there's low volume that the traders that are going to push ledges and push edges are going to try to do that even more aggressively because there's low volume. Again, that it makes it easier for those guys to execute, and it kind of makes it harder for us to stake out really significant positions. So scale down and let it play. Yeah, exactly. There's two statistics on the volume that are interesting today. Is the traded volume is so low, and the other thing is if you look at the cash on the sidelines, in general, in the equity markets, financial markets in general, there's an enormous amount of cash on the sidelines, huge amount. And so, that could push us higher all by itself, and, likely will at some point. So cross currents. What does the heat map look like? It's pretty green, but it's not really overwhelmingly so. Everything is pretty much up. Tesla and Lilly are the two big leaders among larger cap stuff, and banks, but nothing significantly down, except in the Russell. There's a couple of things. Let's see, what's that? Biogen and the Nasdaq and Amazon is slightly down. Nothing down more than 0.5%. So there isn't a lot of heat on the heat map, in other words. Boy, I'm painfully profitable in my short here. It's like, and so I keep taking one off, and then it goes up. I try to put one back on, but it doesn't go up enough for me to do that. So I'm now down to 3 contracts on that trade, and I'm still of the belief that the dribble down is the most likely event today. But
yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I'll throw one on here just so we can put that into reality, so we can just track where it goes if it's two-sided. If this fills.
Yeah.
Sensible place to try and get that filled. I mean, top of the quick LRC range. Leaning on the big deltas, let's just see. Oh, not a bad entry, not the worst entry. I agree that it can sort of dribble down, then it's going to accelerate where, it finds stops and people go, oh my God, and then there's going to be an interesting long opportunity once we've gone too low.
Today is totally a day you could paint pictures of the psychology. We opened strong into all-time highs. Of course, all the retail traders shorted into that and got run over. So we had a short squeeze. And now exactly what Amy was saying a minute ago, and we were all talking about that, on the way down here, there's obviously some people that are going to look to hit the bid. So, the psychology of the shifting who's off sides at this point is very interesting. I'm not so sure we're going to go down hard first. We could push up again here. It's a really tough call, but the dribble down over the course of the day, I'm going to go with that. And I really would be shocked if 62 gets taken out. That's my thesis right now, just based on the price action.
What I suggest, Jeff, we'll take this to about bottom of the hour, maybe 10 minutes after that, and then we probably wrap it up, because we can be sitting here watching no movement for a very long time.
Yeah, let's do that. See if I think I keep trying to predict the future. I think we're going to get some sort of movement here. It feels like it's coming, but yeah, it could definitely drag out. So let's do that. That's a good plan. There's nothing to look at in price action. Otherwise, I'd say we could switch to my charts and look at the price but there's nothing happening.
It's ebb and flow.
Middle of the middle. ES ebb and flow, and RTY is the only one that's pushing high again. That is worth watching, though. Actually, I might play that one.
Yeah, it's heading up to the top of the session range, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the only one that really is, so it might be the one to play. And I did just that.
Get out of this because nothing's happening.
All right, that worked immediately. So I'm short RTY here at 15.4, and it's already profitable. So what the heck? That was the only idea I've had in the last 20 minutes, and I did it right as I saw it. So just because it got to the edge of its range, it was the only one that was trying to go to the top. So should we reschedule the profile course until tomorrow? That's an interesting. Or you mean the group, small group? That's an interesting question for you.
There's a bit of confusion there. So it's not a course. Yeah, we spoke about one thing in profile. So it meets every week, and it's not. We're not
small group.
Yeah, we're not doing specific stuff based on what's happening in the market. So today's schedule is we're going to go through the question queue, and then depending on time, we might look at some more information around price rejector.
Ooh. Just had a little two-way action there for a moment. That's encouraging. At least the debate is starting. We want to see some litigation here. We want to see them arguing up, down, not just this sideways stuff. Come on.
Even that, the pace is horrible. NQ is moving like ES.
RTY is trying to break its high again. That's the only thing I'm finding an opportunity to play right now is over in RTY.
We could be having a push to resolve this UB.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. We might be going up, and I took off. I was trying to sell at 58. I took those off, and we could get back up to 59 or 60. That would be interesting. And the UB's where it's at 60 and a half. Yeah. Oh boy, that would actually be a really sweet confluence. A drift up there, and then we get filled there, and then it gets slammed down. Perfect. All right, I got another RTY here now. I'm just doing the same thing over there. I'm just scalping that around the price action. I'm short RTY right now. Let's see, this time we're short 15.7, and it's traded 15.1 at the moment. And there's a downward sweep in NQ, and there's one in RTY. We do not have one in ES yet. But capital tends to grow together in this market, so look for it. Okay, took profits on the RTY. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's going back up for another one. That'll be 3. That is the only place there's any price action to trade at the moment is RTY. And it's a painfully small range. You're right. NQ is trading like ES, and ES isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And RTY is actually the only place I'm getting good scalps right now, which is unusual. I rarely even do them there. Yeah, it's too slow for one tick drill, and the sweeps make that a little dangerous. Amy, I agree. I mean, you could play them to the short side, but it's one tick drills are really good when you have a predictable range back and forth, and that isn't really what this is. This was a big push up that tried to go down and got bought, and that's the range, and that's a slightly different set of circumstances than a good one tick. Great days for one tick drills are like yesterday, an inside day where we're going nowhere all day. That was perfect. Look at the volume profile yesterday and the overnight volume profile from the overnight before yesterday. They look identical and they're perfectly balanced. They are bell-shaped curves, drunk and wobbling around. Yeah, really. Oh.
Trey is saying, I recognize that name. It's saying one tick is perfect for a 30-year.
Yeah.
If you can have the patience.
Right. Yeah. You need to be able to sit in a one tick trade for an hour and a half.
Because
I just can't do it.
Because if you enter a market, it's got to trade through you realistically because the depth of the queue. And so if you join the queue, you're waiting for a long time.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't join the queue, you're automatically offside.
Yeah.
And as you said, so I find that just, if I was trading a giant book and, Grady says it's because he's older now, but I'm older than him. So I don't buy that. But he used to be a scalper in faster moving stuff. He transitioned to the bonds. And
the Futures IO idiot, Mike, what's his name?
Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Dick. Yeah. He says
you're just mad you got banned.
Yeah, well, I don't mind being banned if it's for good reason, but being banned for idiocy is not a good reason. Hence, he's an idiot. Uh, so he says he trades 30 years because he likes to have the time to think. Like, how much time do you need to think?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you hear Grady talking about it, at least it makes sense what he says. I get his style and I get what he's doing with it.
And he's doing correlations across all of them. Yeah, it's no different to what we're doing on the equities with all the domes up.
Yeah, he's trading more like a market maker would in that market.
And the change in shape of the yield curve and this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And, and I get if you want to do that stuff. I would die of boredom instantly. One of the things that's hard about trading is it's definitely addictive. It's an addictive behavior. If you can manage yourself, and trade an instrument that suits your personality, that's one of the ways you control that. And I would be going nuts trying to do that in the bonds. I'd be off, doing everything else because I wouldn't be able to pay attention for that long. But here, the short in MES is working really nice. And
I can see you trading bonds with a syringe hanging out of the vein in your arm.
Exactly. Yeah. Wake up, put on another contract, take another hit. Yeah, that's totally what it would be like. Boy. All right. We're about.
Now we're going down.
Yeah, we're about to move into the overnight range here aggressively. And that's a beautiful setup for the short. So I've got 4 on now on the short side and still short RTY. I got a 1 there, 4 on ES. Yeah, well, Mekki, it's a behavior where your synapses are firing all the time and your brain's making chemicals. So by definition, it is addictive. And people try to say, well, I'm going to automate, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to control that, but that doesn't work very well. You really have to understand the nature of the addiction, like any addiction. I'm a really good expert on this because of all the pain management issues I've had and all the narcotics they've fed me over the last 50 years and from all the back surgeries and whatnot. And, pain management is a very similar thing. You're dealing with really significant feelings and emotions and, fear and greed and FOMO, those are all the same things. And, I understand people trying to eliminate it from the equation by automating, which can help with that. But I really think that that's step 2. I think step 1 really has to be understanding yourself and how you react. If you can manage yourself, you can do anything.
Also, the kind of things that
Mike.
to automate. Sorry, the kind of things that are effective to automate, not necessarily the same sorts of trades that you would take as a human.
Exactly. Yeah. You're automating executions that you can't do as a human. That is fast enough. That's my view. But trying to automate strategies, for example, is just the antithesis of trading the market in 2021 like it's 2002. That it's just those automated strategies. How could an automated strategy look at the conditions we have today and make correct decisions? It can't. There's no model or past or history or metric or math. There's nothing you can do that will give you an edge doing that under these conditions. You have to look at the gestalt of all the conditions that exist, and you have to make a risk management bet. You have to think in bets. There is no other way that this works over time. You want to handle that question, the Nikkei and the Euro stocks? I know you've played around with that more than I have, Lee.
Euro stocks, absolutely very structured, slow. So if you like 30-year trade, you'll like Euro stocks, thousands of lots at each level. And Nikkei, if you take the Osaka contract, which is MJNK, CQG symbol, don't trade MKD. You need to watch the MJNK. MJNK is a cracking contract. It's like ES, but even more structured and orderly, really good. So both of those are useful. Challenge on Euro stocks, although they've cut the tick size in half now, I think, is the range isn't that big and it's slow. But, for scalping, if you like scalping 30-year, you would like scalping both of those for sure.
We're starting to get a little bit of momentum to the down now. I think we're going to take out the downside ledge at 52.5 pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll get a two-sided day. Then the interesting thing will be how low do we go, and then
what happens
to go
next?
back up to the high.
Yeah, exactly. There could be a lot of good scalping the rest of this day. I'm going to actually trade through the afternoon, which I usually don't do.
And I think throwing a micro on when it looks like it's gone low enough and just holding it, knowing we've got UB at the all-time high, is a very interesting idea.
Yeah, for me, for that one, it's going to have to come down and form a high volume reversal. That's what's going to be the signal for that. We got one of those at this morning at about 6 a.m. my time, and that was actually the first place I got long. Let's see, what was that price point I'm thinking about? It was, let's see, it was, about 48. If you look at the, it consolidated up there around 52, then we popped down right before the open. And that was a classic example of that high volume reversal. Great place to get long into the open. And now the short, here we go. Yeah, the 52.5 is gonna go real soon here.
So to Phil's question from earlier, what was the sign for it to be two-sided? We didn't get a clean entry at all. The clue was actually NQ.
Yeah, RTY has pulled back a tiny bit, but it's still holding near its highs. It's the strongest of them, as usual. But NQ is up by a larger percentage, but it's weaker in momentum. Is just to clarify that point. Yeah, I started to take some of my short off, Lance, for that reason too. I expect the ledge to break, but I've been scaling in short ever since 60, so I've been starting to peel them off down here at 54. I just got one filled at 54 right there, and just filled another one at 54.25, because why not? 6 points apart, you take it, right? But yeah, I think this low is going to go, but I don't think it's just going to be a clean break. I think it's going to ebb and flow its way down.
Yeah, and look at where we pause. There is not enough energy today to do anything other than keep taking profits where you can.
Yeah, I made that mistake earlier, right at the open. I made that mistake. I tried to hang into a position I thought was going to develop, and it didn't. And yeah, the volume is the key to that. We still haven't gotten to a 500,000 on ES. At almost 8:30 my time, it's 10:30 Central. That's crazy low volume.
Yeah, and I tell you what, lunchtime is going to be very dangerous today.
Yeah, the rookie roast today will be dangerous because the funds will be in a position. Those who want to push this around can do it. And yeah. I think they're starting to get the sense of that right now. Watching the tape, I'm starting to see more blocks get thrown up at places I don't expect them, like back and forth on the bid and the ask. That frequently is a little warning that a break is coming. If you see blocks going back and forth, a little spit swap, tick up, tick down, on blocks. When you see that happening, and it's happening right now, that's an inflection point, and we will generally leave that behavior aggressively one way or the other. And right now, it's actually ticking up a bit. But so again, I have no preconceived notion. We are on an inflection point at 54. It will break hard one way or the other here. I've got orders to sell 56 if it gets back up there, and otherwise, I'm just riding my short here.
I'm throwing odd ones on here just so we can bookmark the ideas.
Yeah, that's pretty much we got a price rejector on the pullback on ES down here.
On both sides of it.
Yep, that's the problem. Yes, that's true, Phil. Absolutely. Retracements of the sweeps have been giving good entries short when we're getting those big sweeps. But, you have to kind of react when they come. That's one of the things I watch for on a day like this. If we get a sweep down and it immediately has anybody buying into it, I look to reshort when it gets back to the top of that sweep. That's because a lot of times you'll see if somebody's trying to work into the market, that's how they'll do it. They'll push out a little bit, push the bid down, let it come back up to them, then put another one, push it down again. That's why I'm seeing an inflection point here is they're doing that on both sides of the tape right now, not just on the sell side. which is how we're holding 54 quarter here. Up until this point, we were only pushing down, and now it's two-sided on the inside bid and ask. And so for that reason, that was why I started taking profits on parts of my short.
Phil's asking about bookmarking zero prints. I don't really understand that get filled in later, but here, my dotted lines here and here, I'm using emoji small prints to do this, which is a really good tool. I only have this set up for, where are we? Zero prints. So
it's a good tool, but the guy that runs that company, I don't know about him.
Yeah, so I'm identifying zero prints in the bar body, and I have it extend until future in section. I mean, if I wanted to, I could change it to, you know what, let's do colored zones and do interesting stuff with it. Except my colors are messed up, but I can roll reverse. But all I want to do is bookmark them when they appear, because I care about them as potential stopping points for the future. So that's emoji small prints, available from an emoji software vendor near you. Free BMW with every 900,000th purchase.
Very, very interesting spot right here now, because that little battle that I saw going on is still going on, but now the sellers are winning. So we should, no, that side's the winner. Yeah, the spot to watch right now is 53.75 to 55. That's this tight little range. That's the LRC range, and it's literally being litigated as we're speaking. I mean, I'm watching the debate go on as the blocks go back and forth. Both sides of the tape look like they're ready to throw size at this if it goes their way, because you can see them starting to do it. So
YM's heading towards its low. Bottom of the pullback on NQ is UB. We're at the open, and that's the litigation, also the big negative delta. So it's someone is going to get run over, and that's what's going to cause the move.
RTY is back at the top, which is interesting.
Yep.
I just nibbled it short. You get one more time. I'm just picking off ticks doing that out of boredom mostly, but it's been profitable. For RTY, it's not moving very much, which makes it very tradable under these conditions.
Let's, just for masochistic reasons, look at 30-year again. Okay, so it did move down. Moved down 2 ticks, 3 ticks since we last looked. But just look at the dome. Look at the liquidity and how it's not changing. It's fantastic. It's only the inside market where the liquidity is changing.
42.50 was a battle early morning too, before regular trading started, Amy. I was watching that too. I actually got sucked into it a little bit. And so I expect it will be an inflection point. Although I'm really surprised that 54 has been so aggressively argued. In other words, 54 is a really significant inflection point right now. We're totally in ebb and flow on ES there. And it's not low volume. I mean, people are putting up decent trades on both sides, which is my way of seeing that it's going to break hard.
It's a tick below the open. So it's like, oh my God, it's going to go lower. Is the internal voice for many people. It can't go lower.
A gap fill would be very interesting. If we get into 52 down, the gap fill's 34. That not out of the question here at all. That could be the dribble down. So
it is funny when you see this litigation play out. It's more fun when it happens quicker.
Yeah, that's true. But it's easier to teach when it's like this, because you can kind of see it happening. Yeah. So, all right, there we go. 53.75. That's key. If that can break down, then we're going to take out the lows. But again, the buyer stepped up one more time there.
And we're at the top of the LRC range on NQ and ES at the moment. We're going to have a little bit more wiggling around.
RTY is about to break its ledge to the north. Long.
Yep. And it's got UB at the overnight high.
Mm-hmm. which is just a bit above us in the RTY, 17 and change. So we're about to get there, which will be very interesting.
Look at the profile. It's the weight is still in the lower half.
Yeah.
Caffeine's kicking in now.
What's that?
Caffeine is kicking in on the movement. Okay, I think it's about to start its move down.
Yeah, I added to my short in RTY now because of that. I think you're right. That's actually working the best of any of my trades. Still short in ES and RTY.
Don't tell Maria.
Yeah,
you've moved to the dark side.
I always liked RTY because it's a slower, easier to trade ES. I actually encouraged her to do that back during the workshop in 2019. I haven't been doing it because I didn't have my dome set up to do it, and recently have gotten back into it because I put my domes up for it, and I'm really glad I did because it's actually one of my favorite instruments when we have this kind of behavior, and
Yeah, it feels exactly right. This sort of day is a great day to actually teach yourself the discipline of sitting on your hands, turn off the computer, do something else.
Yeah.
What are you missing out on?
Yeah, you're not missing out on a lot. It's good practice to trade something like this. Either use micros or use the sim. It's good for, skill development, particularly as a scalper, because this is very scalpable action in a very tight range, which, all the scalpers of the world will tell you, tight action, tight range, scale up, big size. The danger of that today is the sweeps.
But don't chase your entries.
Right. But if you're on the correct side, so far the sweeps have all been to the downside, and I've been scalping short. I have not scaled in with a lot of size. I think the biggest I've had on today is about 11. But see, there's the buyers again at 55.75. Big block just went off there.
RTY pushing up. Yeah.
Yep. It's taking out its high again. So anything can happen anytime, right?
So RTY has resolved a couple of things here. So we can easily be led by RTY.
Yeah, I always like to say if RTY and NQ are doing the same thing, that the market generally will go with that. And the problem here is NQ is really not playing yet, but it's not far from playing, and that could pull up ES and YM. So that's worth watching. If RTY is at its highs, if NQ can get back up above its first hour high, call it 404 area. If it gets above there, then I think you can look for ES and YM to join the party to the upside, which will give us our short entry up there that we're looking for, right?
Resolve the UB.
Yep. Yeah, I'd love for it to go up and take out that UB and get short up there. That would be perfect with a big fat price rejector at, say, 62.
So I think let's go to about 1:45 because it doesn't look like we're heading down to the lows anytime soon. We'll see if we get there or whether we're just going to spend another 10 minutes stuck in the middle with you.
Yeah, really. We could switch to my screen if you want, just so people, if they want to see my view, we could do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, hang on, grab it. Okay, so this is my main screen, and you can see in this particular account, I'm short the micros right here at 55. And I've got a few different accounts running with different sets of trades going. So the significance on 62 is just it would fill in the UB at the top And there was some decent activity up in that area when we were up there at the Open, Lisa. So we're just kind of proposing that if it were to get up there again and take out the UB, assuming that the order flow confirmed it, that would be a really sweet spot to try a short to the other edge of the range. That's the thinking. It's a very asymmetric, low risk place to look to do that. Put it that way. I've been scalping around a core. Right now I'm on 55 on the nose here with the micros, and I've got a little higher in my ES trade, which is on another account. I'm at 58, but it's got this really nice little symmetrical range to scalp. And, right now I'm just sitting in it short, but if it pushes up, selling it up in there. And, obviously if the UB goes, that would be right there. I'd love to get filled up there for a move back down into here. Just the other end of this range, this 52.5, I think is ultimately going to go. That's not the kind of bottom that looks like it's going to hold. So, and I'm also watching the structure over here. The two directional price rejectors, price rejector on this bar with a northbound price rejector on the pullback. So there's the UB right there that we're watching. And you can see we're coming down into this area that, kind of was really a weak, sort of low, sort of middle overnight. So you could argue this entirely both ways easily and be right. There's just no right or wrong position here. All right, that's starting with. I still like scalping RTY short. That's, like I said, I've been doing that. I just missed it. Let's grab one there and just grab some ticks just for fun. If we can. I'm going to get that stop out of the way. That's just a catastrophic stop. So, yeah, there we go. Come on. We traded there and I didn't get filled. I'm just like pulling micro $5 bills out of the ether here. That's all I'm doing with a couple of ticks at a time over there. And then here I'm trying to actually build back into a larger short position. Yeah, the high volume reversal is the other thing. Yeah, if we got a high volume reversal at 61, 62, I'd be all over that, Amy. Absolutely. That would be my favorite thing to happen today. And let's see that this tape is on the RTY. It's this chart right here and this LRC. So right now we're at the bottom of the LRC. So, if that breaks, I'll get filled here. Let me scoot that up. So we'll take $3 instead of $2 there. And it's not filling. Come on, fill me. Boom. All right, we got it. So that's what I've been doing just while this has been happening, just picking off a few ticks in each direction. I've got a few more over here. And obviously I've been scaling into a much bigger position on and off there. So anyway, but it's, 54 keeps getting bought. So this is forming a really nice, let me draw real quick here. It would be hard to be much more, symmetrical volume profile there. It looks pretty. So, it's not like it's just the bottom's gonna fall out. It doesn't feel like that, but boy, from right here down, this area below us looks very interesting. Let's look at that on the fast view. So, and this is why, if we can break that, there's an air pocket down to there, and then below there, this entire move up overnight was pretty much on that one push, like Lee said, around Europe. So if we can take out, I'm certain we're going to retest this ebb and flow here. That's the, the 52 area. And then if that goes, it's an air pocket all the way down to here, which is 41 and maybe even, 32. So, it's definitely asymmetric to the downside, which is why I'm trading that way. You can see it's profitable here from 55. It's trading 54. So anyway. And looks like we might have another short opportunity there in RTY. Catch a break of that ledge and get short. So come on. Okay, we got filled there. So let's get that catastrophic stop out of the way, and let's see, what do we want here? Let's see if we can get a $5 bill on that one.
Yeah. So I think we're about to break the ledge. It made us sweat for it, but
downside?
Yeah.
Yeah, 52.5. It's right here on my screens for those of you playing our home game. And see if I can pick off a few ticks again in RTY. I'm profitable over here in my ES short. I'm just not adding to it, and I'm not taking profits. I had a whole lot more on when it was up here, and I've been taking profits down here, as I said earlier, at 53, 75, 54. But I'm done doing that. I'd love to have these two continue for the down move. Oh, it traded down near me, and I didn't get filled there. Darn. Close. All right, let's watch RTY here. I was explaining this and not watching that one. When I'm not teaching, I can watch 2 or 3 instruments at a time. When I'm teaching, it's harder to do that. So we're doing really nice over here. This one, I want to see it come down to me. That's the strongest index, obviously. So, I don't want to give it a whole lot of room to go against me because it could be painful if it did. Oh, look at that. A little sweep up in both. Across the board, we had sweeps up. All right, here we go. We have an inflection point. It's getting busy again. This is usually what it does right before the break. So I'm going to take profits over here on my RTY. Okay, that's done. And now let's watch ES so I can pay attention. Good job, Maria. 150 ticks. Beautiful. Now folding laundry, yeah. Folding laundry as Zen. I totally get it. All right, here goes the ledge, 52.5. We're 2 ticks above it. If it goes, then the fun starts. If we get a high volume reversal, it's a good long. Otherwise, I'm obviously keeping my short here, and we'll just see what we can get. It could totally break down. Throw some footprints up here if you want to see what's happening on the footprint world. Price rejector there at 54.55 on a 3-minute footprint. And there it goes. It took out the ledge. Let's see if it can get anywhere with that.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, there it goes. Okay, 51.5. Yep. Okay, nice little 2-lot for $100 here in the micros. I'm going to take profits on one of them and maybe another here. Let's lock the stop in. So if it's going to bounce, this is probably where we'll try it. So, potential for high volume reversal here. So, I'm going to keep my profits. That's why I'm taking my short off for the moment. I might put it right back on, but, I've got a real nice profit here. I don't want to give it back.
$50 is going to be a minor inflection point because 50.
Yeah, exactly. Because big fat middle hole number, right?
Middle hole.
Yeah. It's not 4,200, but it's
I thought you were talking about something else. Okay.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. No, that's not what I said. That's your brain. That's the British brain.
2 on each side, 1 in the middle. Yeah.
The British humor that goes faster to the gutter than any other.
I was talking about how you run a bath.
Okay.
A faucet. Yeah. 2 on each side.
Get your brain out of the gutter and back into the sewer where it belongs.
So wasn't that an interesting break of the low? It didn't really go very far.
No, that's why you're seeing me tighten up my stop here. I don't want this going against me at all. So that's why I keep pushing the stop down. It's like, if this moves up at all, I'm taking profits, and then we'll reset for another trade, because this is just a beautiful symmetric volume profile, and it just doesn't want to go down, even though it should. Boom.
And we've got UB above us.
Yeah. All right. So I'm flat now. You can see I've got some sell orders on the book there, and now we'll just kind of let it play out.
I did the exact same thing. I was scalping short, and I've exited those now. And I think maybe we're going to go back up to the high.
We didn't really get a high volume reversal. We got a sort of a bottom, but this is not what I would call a high volume reversal. There's not enough buying coming in, and we're not seeing the aggression on the buy side delta. But it's clearly an inflection point. That's what they look like: buy and selling at the same. And it's right on the first hour low, which is the blue line here. So that's the market's way of saying this is a good place to take profits, Jeff. So we did. Again, I'd love to get short. Even back up here at 56 is a reasonable short again. The apex of the volume profile.
I'm now nibbling long to get the UB resolved.
To get the UB, yeah, that is tempting as well. I might do that later, but not right now. I'm going to leave those orders up. I still like RTY short because it's running out of gas up here. If you see the volume, as it has been making the new highs, it's diminishing. So, this might have 1 or 2 more pushes in it. And so far, I've been able to scalp short on that 4 times in a row, picking up $3 or $5 bills, which is fine. Micros, it's better than doing nothing. It's profitable. I could do it all day. Could do it with RTY instead of micro RTY, and then it's $50 bills. But then it's more risk, and under these conditions, that's probably not justified. Yeah, I'm tempted to put another short on over here in ES, even though Lee's long. That 54 area that was litigated before, I'm going to throw one on there just for fun if I can get filled. I'm trying. Look there. Okay, 53.75. I'm going to hang on to that one. Even though Lee's long and he's probably right, the 54 was a battle point, and it's the top of the overnight here again. This is the overnight. The white is the overnight, and this blue right here is our current volume profile for this session. So here, let me blow that up a bit. You guys can see what I'm talking about. Not only are we symmetrical in our session volume profile, but the symmetry is matching up to the symmetry of the overnight and the inside day and the inside overnight the day before. So wait till this repopulates the data and you'll see what I mean. It usually is very fast, but when obviously when Zoom is running, the bandwidth is getting sucked up by Zoom. So here it comes.
So we've reached quarter to the hour. We've had a weak break at the high, leaving UB. We got our two-sided day. I think we're going to be on our way back up. I think we should look at burning desires, but if any of our guests have any questions, now is the time to do it. We have our beginners course starting on the 9th of July, which goes through the various setups that we do, both Jeff's approach to scalping, my approach to the first hour's structure. And let's just show you, I'll bring my screen up. Let's show.
Yeah, are you going to put a link up for the class as well, right?
Yeah, I'm going to show.
Real quick, before you grab the screen, really quickly, this populated, let me just show you what I was talking about, and then you can have it. So this is the overnight, the white, and this is our regular session in blue, and you can see we're right at the overnight high. And this right here is what I'm talking about. This is yesterday's session and the overnight before. This is a perfect example of symmetry in an inside day, and we have volume down there from our overnight too. So I'm just of the belief that this area is going to get retested sometime relatively soon, but it's not. I'd love to get shorter up here, so I am baby short here with a one lot, and we'll see what happens. All right, Lee, why don't you grab the screen and talk about that stuff?
Cool. So you'll see directly on the tradingresearchgroup.com homepage. We've got a countdown to the next class.
I think we have the wrong screen.
You have your desktop, Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. That's what we want.
Lovely collection of folders on the desktop, though.
That's it, yes.
Yeah. So on our tradingresearchgroup.com homepage, we have...
Put the link in the chat.
Yeah, information. You can look at our curriculum. It's 6 sessions, an intensive weekends of probably about 6 hours of education where we go through lots of scalping approaches, lots of structural order flow, footprint market profile approaches, and you'll be left with a really strong foundation of how to trade in this style and get the most out of Trading Research Group. So it starts in just over 2 weeks' time. All the details are here, and obviously get in touch with us if you have any questions, if you're a guest on this from our Facebook group. And we'd love to get you into the fold like the many other hundreds of people who we've taught this information to.
Most definitely.
Indeed. So I've just lost our chat. I'm just going to final scan if we've got any questions. Okay, you've got the link there, which is great.
Put the link up. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll now say Burning Desires going twice for our members and guests. If there's anything else which we can answer. It's a quiet day, but not without opportunity, as we've seen.
Yeah, it's very
interesting. Just a reminder. I was just going to say a reminder real quick that the structural group is meeting in about, 25 minutes?
Exactly. The structural small group, right after this.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will see you all there.
All right. Are there any other questions from anybody, guests or TRG members? We happy to answer them. You can see I'm taking a little bit of heat on my one lot short here. So far Lee is proving correct, but I'm prepared to scale into it, as you can see, and maybe a lot more than that. I actually think this could be a significant opportunity. If we push up and take out that UB and then get a price rejector up there in the 62 area, I would scale. I'll get up to a 20 or 30 lot here in the micros on that, because that's just a really nice setup. If you're wrong, you'll be really obviously wrong fast after that. So, all right, I don't see any other questions. Wait a minute, do we still have other micro short limit orders? You can see on my screen, I've got orders at 56, 58, 59, and
we can't
62.
see your screen right now.
That's right.
We're on Lee's.
All right, here, real quickly, let me go back to mine just so these guys can see where I'm at. Yeah, I'm still trying to scale into this. I'm just leaving one on over here in RTY land, because I'm just picking off $3 and $5 bills over there with one lot short. And then I'm trying to add to it over here, and you can see where I've got orders. And I might even put more on than that. I'd really like to load up at 61, 62, but there is some doubt in my mind that we'll get up there. So I'm going to kind of scale in along the way. I think, the worst case scenario is this ends up as a balanced day around 55, 56. And so you can play it both ways with relatively low risk with that scenario. And then if it breaks long or breaks short, it will go with you, So that's the way I would play it if you're still looking at it. It's a long to the UB, and it's a short if it breaks the lows. And in the middle here, it's a beautiful range. You can play both ways, scale in, scale out. So hope that answered your question. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Any other questions, comments? Anybody? All right. Well, thank you for coming, guests. Join our class if you like. I think you'll enjoy it and learn something. And good structural session, Lee, even though we didn't really have a whole lot to see.
Made the best of what we had.
We did. And you know what? I think today, I think today is going to be one of those days. I keep saying this, but I think it's one of these days that's going to lull everybody to sleep. And then we're just going to have wicked great setups, whether they're longs or shorts or both. I just don't see this staying quiet up here. And again, if it does, it's the worst case scenario. So your risk is relatively well defined. So play accordingly. All right. Stuff. That's it. Thank you, everybody. We will see the structure small group people for that session shortly. And everybody else, let's see, TRG, we have our roundtable 6-month meeting between general managers and traders on Saturday morning. This is are we where we want to be for the mid-year? Can you believe it's halfway through 2021 already?
22 is right around the corner. It's insane.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I'm not happy with my numbers at all. I'm profitable, but I am not happy. I mean, I have not been trading the way I want to be trading. And so I have a lot of really specific changes that I'm doing and implementing, and I will share those with you. Because there's just no excuse under these conditions for not having a really good equity curve. And that's always a struggle. You guys hear this from us a lot when we're teaching, because we trade too. And, when you're teaching, you have to scale down, because if you make a mistake, it's catastrophic. But, traders like to trade. So I'm still struggling with that balance. And I know a lot of you have had similar experiences with sims or combines or whatever. And COVID has screwed our minds up a lot. So anyway, I think this will be a really good roundtable. So bring your problems and your solutions, and be prepared to dig deep, because to me, that's a really important thing to do. I mean, and again, I'll explain this more Saturday, but for me, the ratio between the opportunity that's been in front of me this year and the size of my account growth are not commensurate. And so I'm unhappy about that. My general manager doesn't like that. My trader has been doing a good job, but what he's been doing wrong, and I'll tease you with this, my trader is not scaling up into asymmetric setups. That's the conclusion that I'm going to talk about. When I see really good setups, I'm not scaling up into them, and I need to change that. So that's my 6-month biggie. We'll talk more about that.
I'm really looking forward to this session. So
yeah, this last year it was great. We did it in June last year, which is right in the middle of a COVID lockdown. And it's really good to talk to yourself under conditions like that. And and have your general manager, the person running your trading business, and your trader, the person executing the trades, which is most cases the same person, getting them on the same page, in terms of your business and your risk management. Just picked off another one there on RTY, so we'll throw that one in the bank. That's number 6 in a row for those shorts off the top. Not complaining. The short over here in ES is starting to work as well, so that's a good spot to wrap it up. Any final questions or comments? If not, we're out of here. Thank you, everybody.
I think we're good. This has been fun.
Yeah, it has. Good session. Thanks, JVC.
Cool.
Thank you, Lee. And we will see everyone else in just a bit. Bye-bye.
Bye, all.